I don't know why I started eating a sour candy.
Yeah.
That was really stupid. Welcome back to Never Did It. My name is Brad Garoon. I'm here with Jake Ziegler. On Never Did It, we look back at the past 100 years of movie history in an effort to fill in some of our own movie blind spots. But this week, we are doing something different. We're looking back to 1998 through today to rank DreamWorks animated films. They have now released, depending on how you measure it, 50 or so feature films. You could count it as low as 49 and as high as 52, being as we have a list of 50 that we are counting. Now, why not now? We are just post the release of Dogman and pre the release of The Bad Guys 2. You could make the argument that we should have waited for Shrek 5, but we don't want to.
That's a long time. That's over a year. That's almost 2 years away. That's not till Christmas.
Is it?
2026, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was this year. Okay, well then good. Bad Guys 2, who cares? We'll do our 50s through 10 to 50s as pretty quickly because a lot of these movies kind of stink.
Yeah.
But the reason we're doing this is that there is some really good stuff here. DreamWorks gets kind of dogged. I know The Wild Robot almost won Best Picture. It did win a lot of Best Animated Film at the Oscars this year, and it did win a lot of awards. And some DreamWorks movies have won Best Picture, no? Or Best Animated Film.
Twice. They have been nominated 15 times and have only won twice.
And the one that I used to rail against is now one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
So, because I hadn't seen it and I just thought it was stupid. I saw it. Now it's like what I compare every animated movie to. Okay, but let's talk about the stinkies real fast. We'll go back and forth. My number 50 is the Bee Movie. I think this movie, just real quick, is complete horseshit, barely a movie. The fact that it makes no sense doesn't bother me. The fact that it changes its plot every 10 minutes doesn't really bother me. In fact, there's some DreamWorks movies that do this pretty well. Like one of the last Madagascar movie does this pretty well, and Penguins. But holy crap. It just looks so bad. And Jerry Seinfeld, not a good film actor. So that's my number 50. I hate it.
My number 50 is Shark Tale. I find this movie just insufferable and not funny. And every time I hear Martin Scorsese criticize anything, I'm like, bro, Shark Tale, you've got nothing. I hate it.
I've got Shark Tale pretty low also, but my number 49 is Madagascar. I think these movies actually get better as they go, but I rewatched the original Madagascar recently, and I don't understand any of the love for it. I think it's all nostalgia. It looks bad. It's boring, but the plot's dumb. Don't like it.
Yeah, 49 for me is the one straight-to-video feature of DreamWorks. I have the Joseph King of Dreams at number 49.
At number 48, I have Turbo. I watched this during the pandemic and now don't remember any of it. That's how things land on a spot this low.
48 for me is Madagascar 2, Escape to Africa. I actually remember liking the first one more than the second one. I should also caveat this with saying I haven't watched a lot of these as recently as you have. A lot of them I haven't watched since my kid was little. So a lot of these, I did the review based on, or my rankings based on the star ratings I had in Letterboxd, which may or may not change over time, but I'm not going to go back and change any star ratings unless I actually watch something again. So,
and also these are like inconsequential movies, so who cares? My number 47 is Joseph King of Dreams, the straight-to-video one. I mostly compared this to Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which I saw on stage as a kid and performed in Hebrew school as a kid. That story is just much, much more interesting and fun. The music's much better. The music in Joseph King of Dreams, I don't remember a single note. So there you go.
Yeah, 47 for me is Shrek the Third, the worst of the Shrek movies, I think, by a margin.
Yeah, I don't agree with your order on Madagascar. I do agree with your order on Shrek, at least as it comes to Shrek the Third. That's really bad.
Yeah.
My number 46 is Shark Tale. I agree with everything you said.
46 for me also is Turbo. Yeah, just nothing much going on there.
45 for me is Spirit Untamed. So it's weird. Ostensibly, it's a sequel to Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, the 2D animated movie, but it's not. It's a sequel to a television show that somehow looks worse than this, which is, I think, maybe the worst looking DreamWorks animated film.
That's probably accurate, yeah. 45 for me, I have Over the Hedge. I just don't remember there being much there to this one. Just, kind of a standard slapdash animated film. Not much to go on there.
We'll come back to it. I actually quite like Over the Hedge. My number 44 is Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. I watched this on an airplane, and somehow it made me more anxious about flying. I thought it was really grating and irritating. 44
for me is I have the original Madagascar. Clearly, I don't like either of the first two all that much. Yeah, I felt like they were just really bland. I actually kind of like the third one, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, first Madagascar is 44.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment of the Madagascar franchise. My number 43 is Abominable. I watched this one pretty recently, actually. I just don't like how it looks. It looks cheap. It looks kind of similar to Spirit Untamed in that a lot of it feels like a TV show. The story's fine, not like super interesting. I think it moves too quickly, which is a weird thing to say about an animated movie, but it just felt like they had 2 hours of movie that they were like, well, we can't do a 2-hour animated movie, so we'll make it 90 minutes. Yeah, it didn't really work for me. I like the creature design, but the story, fine, but not spectacular.
Right. 43 for me, I have The Boss Baby, Family Business. These are movies I feel like I need to revisit after hearing you rave about them both. I had it ranked at rated at 2.5 stars. I saw it once at the theater, so that's kind of where I have it. I don't remember a lot of specifics about it. I remember the first one a lot better.
Sure. I'll talk about both of them a lot later.
Yeah.
They're both in my top 10. Spoiler alert. Okay, so where are we? My 42 is Shrek the Third. It's bad.
I have Spirit Untamed at 42. Yeah, not much going on there.
Yeah. I have Madagascar 2 at 41. I actually kind of hate this. I mean, obviously, I hate it less than Madagascar 1 because it's less boring. It has more interesting voice work. Alec Baldwin is like, who I like a lot. Is the worst villain, I think, maybe in a DreamWorks animated film. I hate the way he looks with his Elvis hair. He's a lion. And the side story with the old woman from the first movie who beat up a bunch of the animals leading a human revolt, Africa, this movie's abysmal.
Yeah. 41. Yeah, I have Shrek Forever After in this spot. Noticeably better than Shrek the Third, but it's still it's okay.
Yeah, this might be a little low, but I remember feeling very bored watching at number 40, Flushed Away. As for an Aardman or even like Aardman adjacent type thing, I mean, it's not stop motion, but I was just like, oh, this is not hitting for me what the Wallace and Gromit movies hit at all. And also, maybe I was just comparing it too much to Wallace and Gromit. I really didn't like it.
Interesting. 40 for me is a movie that I'm into 3-star territory now, by the way.
Sure, I'm at 2.5 right now.
You're still at 2.5. Okay, yeah. I hit 3 stars when we hit Spirit Untamed. That was my first 3 stars. So
okay,
I'm in 3-star territory. My number 40 is Home. Just kind of a okay little movie. Steve Martin is the villain, has some really funny lines. I'm totally in the bag for Steve Martin. Watched this one a lot when Viv was a kid. She was really obsessed with it for a while. So like I said, it's not one of them that I love, but I never got like annoyed watching it over and over again. So yeah, it's decent.
Yeah, I've got Home higher up. At number 39, I've got Sinbad Legend of the Seven Seas. I know I watched this. I know I watched it pretty recently. I don't remember anything about it.
My 39 is a similar thing, Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron. Again, I remember thinking it was okay. It's quite, like I think you pointed out, it's like a silent movie for, like 20 or 30 minutes almost?
The beginning of it is like very cool.
Yeah, that sounds kind of cool, but where I have it now, it's at number 39.
I'll talk about that more in a sec when I get to it. At 38, I have Orion and the Dark. This is another one where I think I just expected a lot from it because it was written by Charlie Kaufman, and I was like, this is pretty average.
38 for me, I've got The Croods. This is another one that I watched just on repeat when my kid was little, so I know it pretty well, and it's got some funny parts in it. You know, it's nice. I mean, Nicolas Cage is again another guy. I'm gonna like him. His good movies, I like his bad movies. Like I just enjoy Nicolas Cage.
I actually think The Croods is quite good, so I'll get to it later. My number 37 is El Dorado, or The Road to El Dorado, which I do remember. It's another one of the 2D movies, but it's another one where like the songs just aren't that good, and the voice acting's pretty good. The women are really sexy, which is kind of weird for a kids movie. That's not a knock against it. I just think it's weird.
Yeah, unusual. You just don't see it, yeah.
But feels like one that like should have been a classic, but probably just because the music's not great, it's not.
Sir Elton kind of phoning it in, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
37 for me, Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted. I had this at 3 stars, but like in my head, I remember liking it more. So yeah, I remember it being a lot more fun than the other 2 movies, and just generally more enjoyable. Isn't Kate Blanchett the villain in that too?
Frances McDormand on her little scooter.
Right, yeah, on the little scooter, yeah. So, I mean, that's worth half a star right there.
I'll talk about it in a sec, but I have it kind of in this area. At number 36, you're going to disagree with me on this one, but I have, well, maybe not just because of like, now we're getting into like pretty good territory, although I have this 2.5 stars. I was not wowed by The Bad Guys. It's a heist movie, it's well animated, and it's got Sam Rockwell and Mark Maron in lead roles, but I actually found Mark Maron kind of not good in the role. It reminded me of, you're wearing an Adventure Time shirt. Maron plays the squirrel in Adventure Time. I remember the first time I watched his episode, I was like, oh, Maron isn't like, he doesn't know what this character should be. It doesn't like fit in with the show. And I've since really come around to it. So maybe The Bad Guys I would come around to. I mean, I'm going to go see The Bad Guys too. So irrelevant, but that's where I have The Bad Guys.
Yeah, I'll talk about it a little bit more later. So at 36, I have Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas. I remember seeing this, maybe once when Viv was little and I saw it at the theater, I think too. It was an interesting one because I remember they didn't submit it for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars at all. They didn't even bother submitting it, which I don't think it's like that bad or anything, but you can tell like it wasn't a financial success or critical success or anything. I remember it being, a perfectly solid little adventure animated movie.
So now I'm into 3-star territory with my number 35, and it's Trolls World Tour, which I think is the weakest of the bunch. I like the villain, but didn't think that she came off super well in the movie. I liked like the different tribes of trolls and how they all had different music. It just, I don't know, somehow it didn't like come off right. But these troll movies look spectacular. So they're all worth giving more credit to than a lot of people do.
Agree. In fact, I'll talk more about them later. My number 35 is the holiday film Rise of the Guardians. Probably haven't seen this one in a while either, but there's some fun stuff in there. Good voice work. Yeah, it's better than, as we've talked about before, I dislike a lot of Christmas movies, just as a rule. But this one's pretty, it's pretty solid.
This one's so weird because it doesn't treat Christmas the way that other Christmas movies do.
Yeah.
I'll get to it later. My number 34 is Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted. Now I get to talk about it. This movie's bananas. That's why it's better than the other ones. It's so colorful. What works about it is the same thing that works about the Trolls movies. It's about a circus, so it's super colorful. By the end of the movie, when they're fighting Frances McDormand's character and trying to save everybody in this circus situation with fireworks going off and everything, it looks incredible. Yeah, easily the best of the three. And we still have Penguins to get to, which is like almost a great movie, but not. I'll talk about why later. But yeah, this is where this lands for me. 3 stars.
Yep. 34 for me is The Boss Baby. Again, I remember liking this movie, but apparently, there was something I missed when I first saw it. So I do think I'm going to go back and watch both of those. But yeah, I remember liking it. There's some funny stuff in it. I mean, Baldwin's good, the role and everything. So for now, I have it. That's where I have it.
At number 33, I have Kung Fu Panda 4, and I actually think this is kind of high. I think I should have it lower because I was really annoyed by it, but I have such fondness for the other 3 Kung Fu Panda movies. I think it's by osmosis a little bit higher on my list than maybe it should be.
For me, number 33, I have Road to El Dorado. Agree with a lot of what you said about it. I think it's the top of my 3-star movies because I really love Kenneth Branagh and Kevin Kline in it. I think they kind of carry the movie through its forgettable portion.
Yeah, fair enough. My number 32 is Chicken Run. So clearly I like Dawn of the Nugget better than I like Chicken Run. I remember just thinking it was kind of slow.
Dawn of the Nugget or the first Chicken Run?
The first one.
Yeah, I'll talk more about that later. That's actually quite high on my list. 32, controversial. We've talked about this already when it happened, but I'm starting my 3.5 star movies now. I have B movie at 3.5 stars. I remember, when you first pointed that out to me, it's like, but I have no memory of that, almost no memory of that movie or why I would have given it that rating or anything. Like I said, that's just kind of where I had it in my Letterboxd ratings. The one thing that I do remember about the movie is that I thought Ray Liotta was very funny. He's another guy that I just love, but I don't know. Does that make it a 3.5 star movie? Probably not.
On your scale, maybe.
Yeah. I do. I have a much different scale, I think, than a lot of LB users.
Probably. So at number 31, I have Shrek Forever After. I remember being surprised at how much I like this after hating Shrek the Third. But just thinking that the Justin Timberlake stuff didn't work. But other than that, Rumpelstiltskin's a funny villain, and I was like, oh, they're getting back to it, but not quite. Also, by this point, I was just so sick of this puke green color palette because it's not just the characters, it's everything. I hated it. 31
for me, I've got The Croods: A New Age. Actually, looks like I liked this one more than the first one. It's not how I remember it in my head, but that's how the ratings are on Letterboxd. So that's where we have them right now.
I also think they're both good. At number 30, I have Home, which I clearly liked more than you. I have it 3 stars. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I have enough memories of it to be like, oh, I don't need to rewatch that. I liked it a lot. Whereas I needed to rewatch the third How to Train Your Dragon movie. So yeah, Home's good. It's a fine, middle of the road. That's cute. My nephew is obsessed with this movie. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried, it was actually the first movie I tried to take Viv to at the theater, because we had seen it at home and there was a festival going on in one of the northern Michigan towns. And there was free kids movie, come out and see Home. I was like, okay, well, this will work out because, if she's already seen it. So if it doesn't work out, we can just bail and it was free. So it's like, okay, perfect. Good time to try it. But then since it was free, we also got there really early and she was only 3.5. So it was we got there too early and we had to wait too long and she got restless and we didn't quite make it. A couple months later, we went to the Peanuts movie and she was a perfect angel and she's been my little movie buddy ever since.
All right. What's your number 30?
My number 30 is Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. Again, speaking of watching movies with my daughter, she really got into this one, kind of identified with the main character, and I was watching it with her, so that usually elevates my star ratings a little bit when I have a nice experience watching it with my kid.
My number 29 is Rise of the Guardians. I didn't know anything about this movie. I get this confused with the Zack Snyder animated Owl movie, which I haven't seen.
The Legend of Ga'Hoole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
But yeah, this is kind of cool. The voice cast is neat. Jude Law is pretty creepy as the bad guy. Alec Baldwin makes a good Santa Claus, who's not Santa Claus. But the star of the movie by far is Hugh Jackman as the angry bunny. Yeah, it's cute. It's not great. but it's cute and it looks very good.
29 for me, another one I watched with my kid and had a good time with, was Orion in the Dark. Like you, I expected more from it, where I more thought it was like good, not great. I think I kind of was thinking, oh yeah, this will be really, really cool. And it was good.
My number 28 is Trolls, the original one. I don't remember so much of this. I remember a little bit thinking, oh, I've seen the trailer for Trolls 3 and that looks incredible and this doesn't look as good. But it's a passable movie, and Timberlake's like pretty funny as the angry troll, and it's fine.
I have a different Trolls movie at my number 28. I have Trolls Band Together. Looks like I actually have this one as the lowest of the Trolls movies in my rankings, but I like all three of them. Again, my kid was obsessed with them, watched them a ton, listened to the soundtracks, driving around a ton. I mean, I know like the first soundtrack probably from start to finish, but I enjoy all of them. The third one, I think the boy band storyline didn't quite hit with me, but it was still enjoyable. And like I said, the animation is outstanding. It was just really a pleasure to look at.
That's interesting. I really, really like Eric Andre, so that plays into why I like the third one more. At number 27, I have the original Shrek. Yeah, pretty good. Looks like shit. I mean, like, really looks awful. By today's standards, people are really upset right now about the Shrek 5 teaser that dropped.
Including my daughter.
She's upset about it?
Yeah.
Is she upset about it because of what she read on the internet, or she actually doesn't like what they look like?
I don't know what she read on the internet, but she showed me the trailer. She was like, look at this. This looks terrible.
I think it looks good. I mean, I think Fiona looks weird. They're not going to make a movie in 2025/2026 that looks like this garbage movie from 1999?
2001.
It just looks so bad. It's unreal.
What are you going to do? 27 for me, I have Kung Fu Panda 4. I enjoyed it. It's fine. Totally unnecessary. Would, not miss it if it didn't exist. With all the people that are in it and all those voices, it would be hard for me to at least not enjoy it on some level.
I mean, a lot of the people who are in the other movies aren't in it.
Also true, yeah.
So at this point is where I would have Troll Hunters Rise of the Titans, not to be confused with Rise of the Guardians, at number 27. But we're not doing the streaming movies, mostly because neither of us watched Megamind because we heard it was so bad. Megamind 2, because we heard it was so bad. And in place of that, I have at number 26, Spirit, Legend of the Cimarron, Stallion of the Cimarron, which is like pretty solid. Like Jake mentioned earlier, the first 30 minutes is a silent film because Matt Damon is the voice of Spirit's thoughts, but the horses don't talk in these movies. So until you get to the point where he's caught in the middle of the frontiersman versus Native American conflict, there's no dialogue, and it's great. One of the Pitch Black movies, one of the Riddick movies starts that way too, and it's a real shame. Yeah, it's a real shame that they didn't keep it going like that. But then we wouldn't get Batista in that movie, so...
He's in one of those?
Yeah, he's in one of them.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm not up on the Pitch Black universe. 26 for me is Abominable. Just a solid, enjoyable movie. I took my kid to the theater for it. We liked it. We had fun. I don't remember a whole lot of it now. I don't think it was one we obsessively rewatched, but we did enjoy it.
We're not rushing through these as fast as I thought we would.
I know.
My number 25 is the Captain Underpants movie, which I like that they go for a completely different style. I mean, it was made, the art, by a different studio. Same goes for Rise of the Titans and Dogman, Spirit Untamed. And you can see a lot of the times that leads to a dip in quality. But here, no, it's just different. It's more in line with the books that these movies are based on, Captain Underpants and Dogman. Yeah, that was fine. Kevin Hart and Thomas Middleditch are pretty funny. But, it's just like it's the same joke that wears on after a while. I give it 3 stars.
25 for me, Trolls World Tour. I like the music in this one. I really like Sam Rockwell. It was the first kind of fun thing we got to do when the pandemic hit, because that was one that was supposed to come to theaters and then ended up just going straight to VOD instead, so we could watch it at home. So that was really like the first thing that Viv got excited about, and even I got excited about, because it was like something, again, fun that we could do without leaving the house.
My number 24 is Trolls Band Together. I've said enough about it already. I like it. I like it the most of the 3 Trolls movies. 24
for me is I have the most recent DreamWorks film. I have Dogman, which again took my kid to at the theater. We enjoyed it. It's there's some good laughs in here. Little Petey is really cute. There's some good gags with it. It's a fun movie.
My number 23 is How to Train Your Dragon 2, which I didn't like as much when I rewatched it. I thought that it was weird that the Cate Blanchett character looked so much like Emma Thompson. That was very distracting to me. That happens every once in a while in animated movies. Like I remember in the Final Fantasy animated movie, I forget, Final Fantasy, the original animated one that has nothing to do with the video games. The main character looks just like Ben Affleck, but is voiced by Alec Baldwin. That was an issue for me here. And I didn't think the story was nearly as good as in 1 or in 3.
Well, they're both white, so they're both Ben Affleck.
True.
23 for me, Monsters vs. Aliens. Really fun throwback type of movie here. Voice work by everybody's just really good. Reese Witherspoon, Seth Rogen, Hugh Laurie, Rainn Wilson, Will Arnett, Kiefer Sutherland, Paul Rudd, Stephen Colbert, Jeffrey Tambor, Amy Poehler, Ed Helms, Renee Zellweger. I mean, this just an insane list of voice talent, and it's a lot of fun. Viv and I will still do the muhaha, like that Seth Rogen laugh that he does in that movie as Bob. So yeah, I have good memories of this one.
My number 22 is Over the Hedge. Okay, so I like Over the Hedge. I thought it was going to be how you described it. I didn't feel that way. I thought it was like a pretty big step up in terms of like character design from Madagascar. This is still like 2006. It's pretty early on, and it has a pretty cohesive story. Gary Shandling is the lead voice in the movie. That's hilarious. Outside the plot, I thought the comedy was like pretty wry, which it would be with a Gary Shandling movie.
22 for me, the original Trolls. We've talked a lot about these. It's just, I like it. It's good. It's fun.
22 for me is The Penguins of Madagascar. So what I thought was happening when this movie started was that every 5 to 10 minutes, the plot was going to shift in like a crazy way. Now, the whole point of The Penguins is that these characters are not in touch with reality. So I thought the movie was going to be not in touch with reality. And it was very cool that like they're doing one thing for 10 minutes, then another thing for 10 minutes, then another thing for 10 minutes. And then, unfortunately, John Malkovich, who you don't expect in a movie like this, shows up and he's great, but then the movie has to focus on him as the villain and it slows down a bit. So that's why it's not higher on my list, because I love the vibe it was going for. And I also thought that the climactic thing with all the zombie penguins was kind of dumb.
21 for me is Flushed Away. I definitely like this one more than you did. I mean, Ray Fiennes, Kate Winslet, but certainly lower on the list of Aardman adjacent or Aardman related films, but I like it.
My number 20 is Monsters vs. Aliens. I have been for a minute now, I guess since Over the Hedge, in 3.5 star territory. I really like Monsters vs. Aliens. I think it's really cool that they made a monster movie. You called it a throwback. Absolutely. It's very much like a 1950s, 1960s monster or alien movie, like a Universal, like theremin playing movie. I just think it's so cool that they did that. You ran down all the voices. They're all great. It's got like a bit of an Indiana Jones vibe to it too. It's a very cool movie. Underrated.
20 for me is the Penguins of Madagascar, as we just talked about. Agree with all the things you said about it. I mean, I do love Malkovich as the villain, and it just because, again, it's so unexpected. He seems to be having such a wonderful time doing it, and it's just picturing him recording the dialogue, like just makes me smile. I don't want to see it. I just want to leave it the way it is in my head. So that's where it lands for me. Number 20.
19 is Ants. So this is kind of cool. Ants is a Woody Allen movie. It's just like, also, we're going to talk about a Woody Allen movie now. If you're upset about that, fast forward. We do not endorse any Woody Allen outside of movies behavior, and in some cases inside of movies behavior. Manhattan is a very strange movie. But it was cool to recently watch some of Woody Allen's first movies, including Take the Money and Run, which also features a very, very, very young Sylvester Stallone. And they reunite in Ants as two ants in a colony. And yeah, it's just cool that they let Woody Allen do his thing. I like this at least as much as A Bug's Life. I think this movie's cool.
19 for me is Captain Underpants, first epic movie. I enjoy these guys. They make me laugh. And again, saw it with my kid a couple of times. We always enjoy it.
My number 18 is How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, which I think is much better than How to Train Your Dragon 2. I think the villain is like very dynamic, whereas the villain for 2, he was a lumbering, like, I hate everyone. But F. Murray Abraham in 3 is like having the time of his life. So that's a lot of fun. And it caps off the trilogy in a very satisfying way, very definitively. The end of the trilogy, like at the end of it, Hiccup is like, yep, this is over now. And, they're doing the remake, but that's a remake. What I appreciate is they're not adding new stuff. Now, granted, there's all these TV shows, but they're so easy to ignore.
And I do. Number 18 for me is Kung Fu Panda 3, a very obvious step down from the first two, but I still think 3 has a lot going for it. Bryan Cranston as Poe's dad is a great addition. I'm into 4-star territory now. So yeah, I really enjoy Kung Fu Panda 3.
I am still in 3.5-star territory. I like Kung Fu Panda 3 way more than you, but I agree it's not as good as the first two. My number 17 is Dogman. The only reason it's not higher is my fault. I was really tired when I went to see this in the theater, and I slept through like 10 minutes of it. So I don't think I've got a full, like the angle about Petey's dad coming and showing us how disappointing Petey's childhood was. I missed a lot of that. And when I woke up, I was like, oh, Stephen Root's in this? That's interesting. Yeah, Petey Jr. or Little Petey is so sweet. My main thing that keeps me from thinking this is a great movie and it's just like a pretty good movie is that Dogman is not a character. And that's a problem when everybody in your movie is like very dynamic and manic, and your main character is too, but can't talk. Bit of an issue.
Number 17 then for me is Ants. Yeah, I agree with the things you said about it. It's definitely a Woody Allen movie animated. Yeah, Stallone and Woody Allen together in a movie. It's not two people you'd normally put together.
My number 16 is Megamind, which I just rewatched really recently. Brad Pitt, perfect for the role that he's in. Will Ferrell's always funny. Yeah, and I thought, Jonah Hill in animated stuff I don't always love. Like he's never been my favorite part of the How to Train Your Dragon series. And as the villain here, I think he's like sort of just okay. But I love the story. It's a very cool, for me, not great, superhero movie.
Yeah, I'll talk more about that one later on, but 16 for me, agree with all the things you said about it. How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. I think it's a really strong cap to the trilogy.
My number 15 is Crude's A New Age, but I'm not that far behind Crude's. All the things about the first movie that I liked remain. I don't think there was like much of a dip in quality. You have the Ryan Reynolds character finds people who knew his family, and you get some like, oh, look, here's tech from modern days in the Stone Age. Also, these movies are beautiful, and the action scenes are filmed like Fury Road, not like as propulsive, but as intense. It's really cool stuff. Dreamworks was doing really good stuff with the Cruise movies.
15 for me is I Have the Bad Guys, because yeah, I really enjoyed this movie, got a lot of laughs out of it. The heist stuff I thought was cool. I'm excited for the second one.
My number 14 is Shrek 2, the best Shrek movie, I think. As I was watching it, I remember being very surprised. I can't believe I'm enjoying this more than the first one. It looks much better than the first one. The story's more compelling. It doesn't have John Lithgow, which is disappointing, but what can you do? For me, this is the height of the Shrek movies, 3.5 stars.
At number 14, I have Shrek 2 also. I think it's the first one we've matched exactly on, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
That's interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff here, and also adding Antonio Banderas to the cast as Puss in Boots, which we'll talk about more later, obviously, was a great decision that literally extended the life of the franchise. So that's an important addition.
For sure. My number 13 is The Croods. Not much more to add. It's more stripped down than The Croods New Age. I like these movies a lot.
And at 13, I have Mr. Peabody and Sherman, one of the more surprising movies in the canon, because you feel like it's just going to be a nothing little movie, but it's really funny. I mean, I love Ty Burrell and Stephen Colbert in this as well. It's another one I remember from when my kid was little. She really got attached to Sherman. We got like, I think it was McDonald's toys. Maybe we're giving out little bobbleheads from Mr. Peabody and Sherman. And she got a little Sherman, and she took him around everywhere for a little while. She's just like, Sherman all the time. Like, she loved it. I just think there's some really subtly funny bits in it. And then you like all the characters coming out at the end, all the historical characters, and you've got like, Mel Brooks and all these other great voice actors doing these tiny roles. Yeah, I think it's really surprising and really quite funny and very underrated.
Yeah, Mel Brooks as Albert Einstein is inspired casting. It's directed by Rob Minkoff, so I don't know why we're like so surprised that he also did Paws of Fury, which is terrible, but the director of The Lion King directed this movie, so you'd think it would be good. My number 12 is Puss in Boots, not The Last Wish, the original Puss in Boots. Zach Galifianakis, very funny villain. Salma Hayek, very good. Antonio Banderas, amazing as this character. Clearly, I like this more than all the Shrek movies, and they would only improve on it later, which is wild.
12 for me is How to Train Your Dragon 2. I think it's a very, very good sequel. Obviously, I haven't done the first one yet, so certainly not quite as good, but I just think, again, the animation on these is so cool. I think that carries a lot of it, but I like the story and everything, everything else in the movie, too. That's my number 12.
Cool. My number 11 is Peabody and Sherman. So not much more to say about that. You said it all.
Number 11 for me is the original Puss in Boots. It's just really surprising. Oh, and you know who else? Billy Bob Thornton. Can't remember who his partner is. That's another just really, like, no kid's going to recognize that voice, but like, it's unmistakably him. This was another one that was surprising. So like, who needs a Shrek spinoff? But it's really quite funny, and the action scenes in it are really good.
Yeah, Amy Sedaris is Jill to his Jack.
There we go. Yeah, she's perfect. I love her.
All right, so we're into top 10 territory, which means it's time for me to talk about Boss Baby Family Business. The Boss Baby movies are incredible. I saw Patrick Willems, who's a big YouTube video essay guy, very good. I saw his review of The Boss Baby saying something like, this is more confusing than Tenet. I don't agree. It takes place in the main character's imagination. It's just like very clear that all of this takes place in the main character's imagination. It starts by saying, I have an overactive imagination. And I think that more than any other movie that claims to do imagination, like If or Imaginary or all that crap, this actually does feel like it's in some kid with ADHD's imagination. And the second one is more about the daughter and the relationship between the dad and the daughter and the dad and the brother. I just think it's very sweet. Not as good as the first one, but did I give it 4 stars, or am I still in 3.5 star territory? This is my first 4-star movie. My top 10 starts 4 stars. Yeah, I think Family Business is good. Not as good as the original Boss Baby, which I was like, are there people that don't like this movie? That's crazy. So that's my number 10.
10 for me is the original Shrek, which I think, yeah, despite how it looks and everything, was, kind of a game changer in a lot of ways. I still find it very funny, but I feel like, now that I look at my list, like, I feel like I like 2 more than 1, so I might even be needing to adjust. But I think, the first Shrek, it's, I think it might get a little dogged on by certain crowds, but it's funny. A lot of the jokes are very dated until like, oh, this is early 2000s. But, if you want to scratch that nostalgia itch, Shrek will do it for you.
Yeah, true. So when I rewatched these, it wasn't as painfully dated as I thought it would be. So that's a win. My number 9 is Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit. It's weird that there's a Wallace and Gromit movie here. Isn't it? It's like weird that Aardman had this little like interlude with Dreamworks, because like none of the other Wallace and Gromit movies are part of this, including the new one, which is Netflix. But this is good. It's very good. There's no such thing as a bad Wallace and Gromit movie, and this proved that they could do feature length. I do still think 30 minutes is the sweet spot for a stop motion Wallace and Gromit short. Yeah, this is really fun.
Number 9 for me is The Prince of Egypt, which I know we talked quite a bit about on our 10 Commandments episode when we did that. But yeah, Prince of Egypt is great. The animation in it is stunning. It was only the second animated feature. They've released their 2 they were kind of back to back. Ants was October 98, and then Prince of Egypt was in December. So they came out like really quickly. The song, the music is very good. The voice performances are very good. Obviously it's a story we all know, but I think they did it really well.
I agree. I actually have it higher on my list, and I can't fault them because this movie is a classic and it's enduring. I mean, it's a Bible story, but it's like a rare Bible story that like really worked on screen and didn't feel preachy. I'm just surprised they didn't release it in like March, April, like around Passover when the story, happens, but it endured. So clearly they knew something I didn't. My number 8 is The Boss Baby, the litmus test by which I judge animated films. If you look at any of my 2025 animated movie reviews, they all start with, is this better than The Boss Baby? Sometimes they are. I just saw Neja 2. That movie is better than The Boss Baby, but then I just watched the Plankton movie, which is not only not as good as The Boss Baby, it's not as good as like 90% of this list. It's really bad. It looks so bad. The only thing that's good about Plankton, and I know we're not really talking about that now, but I'm not going to have another chance to, it does these flashbacks in the style of like a Rob Zombie cartoon or like a Betty Boop cartoon. So that stuff's cool, especially because the Netflix animation of like the Sandy movie and the Plankton movie is so ugly. But Boss Baby is beautiful from start to finish. It does the colorful popping on screen that I love about the Trolls movies and about Madagascar 3. The voice work is so funny. Jimmy Kimmel's in it. Lisa Kudrow and Tobey Maguire is in it, which is bizarre. Yeah, just like a perfect movie about imagination, I think. The only one that I like better that I can think of off the top of my head is The Phantom Tollbooth.
Love The Phantom Tollbooth. I also love my number 8, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. An amazing sequel. Some kind of cool mixed animation stuff that they were doing in this one. Some great action scenes. Story, relative that's kind of familiar. The old gun, still trying to hang on to his former glory, everything, but it's done really well. Like I said, Antonio Banderas is so good in this. I mean, this is like, he's been in a lot of great movies and stuff, but I think this is like mostly what he'll be remembered for is this character, because it's, he's so beloved in it. And, they got 2 surprisingly great movies out of this.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be his character from Paddington in Peru, unfortunately. Even though he's pretty good in it, but that movie's boring. So I know you liked it. I really didn't care for it. My number 7 is the original How to Train Your Dragon. This was like one of my favorite movies for a while. I still think it's very, very, very good. And it was sort of like the movie that made a lot of people be like, oh, wow, DreamWorks can do like this consistently good stuff.
7 for me is Megamind. Just adore this movie. Brad Pitt is just so perfect in it. And, Will Ferrell has so many good, funny lines in it. I love the way he mispronounces things. For some reason, that always tickles me. When he's a shul or melancholy, when he's feeling melancholy, and just stuff like that.
I'll tell you what I really like about that is that it's not just a gag for the sake of a gag. It's also a thing that gives away the game when he's pretending to be the Brad Pitt character.
Yeah.
Only Megamind says atrocity.
Yeah, it's really solid. And Tina Fey's pretty good in it too. Jonah Hill, I think, is doing a little bit of what Jason Lee was doing in The Incredibles. It feels feels like kind of derivative of that, but it doesn't ruin the movie for me or anything. I still obviously quite enjoy it.
My number 6 is The Prince of Egypt. We've talked about it a lot. This movie's great, means a lot to me and my family. It's in my top 10.
6 for me is kind of a big disagreement we obviously have is Chicken Run. We're into 4.5-star territory for me now. I really like Chicken Run. I think it's a good retelling of The Great Escape. Mel Gibson sucks, but he, I do like him.
He's not my problem with the movie.
He's definitely okay. Yeah, he's pretty good in the movie. I think like the set designs and everything are really really good. And I think there's some funny stuff in it. I really like Chicken Run.
It's funny, Mel Gibson actually does suck in Pocahontas. Like, he sounds bored. Does not sound bored in Chicken Run. He's having a good time. He's doing the work. I just thought it was slow. My number 5 is Kung Fu Panda 3. Not as good as Kung Fu Panda 1 and 2, but as you'll see, I have all these very high up. I think this is the best action trilogy ever. Not exaggerating when I say that. I love the story of Po. When you said 4 was unnecessary, I agree, only because 1, 2, and 3 tell such a great, interesting story from start to finish, from soup to butts. What do we need 4 for? This is great. And I think... what's it called? It's got J.K. Simmons as the villain, and he's such a cool villain. The best thing about Kung Fu Panda 3 is the leitmotif for J.K. Simmons' character, like the dung, da dung, 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 da dung. It's really good music.
My number 5, let's keep talking about Kung Fu Panda, because that's where I have Kung Fu Panda 2. Amazing sequel. I mean, the action stuff in it is incredible. The villain in this one...
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Oh my gosh, yeah, he's super scary. Just a great movie. Again, this is the part Jack Black was born to play. I mean, literally, like, these movies could not exist without him. I mean, I think that gets said a lot of times, like, oh, no one else could play this part. But, like, in some cases, yeah, someone else probably could. In this case, I really don't think so. I mean, these movies can't exist without him.
Absolutely. Skadoosh. Number 4 is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Yeah, really capitalizing on the success of Mitchell's versus the Machines with the animation style. But what I liked about this was the existential dread that comes along with it, and finding out, like, who the villain actually... Not the villain. You've got the villain played by John Mulaney, the guy with the pie. It's John Mulaney as the villain, but then the more, like, ethereal villain, really, really scary. And really great when you find out who he is. I was so impressed by it. I remember watching it on my couch right here, and I kept getting out of my seat and being like, are you kidding me? And I don't do that for movies, so it was pretty cool.
4 for me is Wallace and Gromit: Curse of the Were-Rabbit. I just watched all of these movies again before the new one came out on Netflix, like you mentioned. I love Wallace and Gromit. Everything they do is perfect. In fact, they have had 4 short films and 2 feature films, and every one of them's been nominated for the Academy Award in the respective category. This was the only one that won I won one of the shorts. I'm sorry. This one did win the animated feature award. It was the second Dreamworks, and to date the last Dreamworks film to do so. So you really could make the argument that, like, Shrek is the only pure Dreamworks film to win the Oscar for Best Animated Feature, because Wallace and Gromit is Aardman / Dreamworks.
Did Shrek win the Palme d'Or?
No,
it competed at Cannes.
Oh, did it really? It did compete? That's funny. I don't think it won. 2001? What would have won?
What year is that? 2001, you said?
2001, yeah. Last 2 movie called The Sun's Room.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I think it was nominated for the Oscar. Yeah, it was nominated for the Oscar, but it's one that I haven't seen. I think it might not be streaming anywhere.
My number 3 is The Wild Robot. I think this movie's incredible. Made me cry a whole bunch. We're at the point where probably most people who are interested in watching a DreamWorks ranking have seen The Wild Robot and know everything about it. Really excited for the rest of this trilogy to come out. I think it's going to be great. How could they screw it up? Just keep putting Chris Sanders in charge of these movies and they'll be fine.
Number 3 for me is the original How to Train Your Dragon. Again, yeah, this movie's incredible. The score is amazing. It looks great. This was one movie that I actually saw in 3D at the theater when I saw it. I was like, this was cool in 3D, not like this was slapdash garbage thrown together, after the fact. They were right. Yeah. It's like, ooh, right at the camera. It was a really good use of it. We're at a time where, like, it was just after Avatar. So, like, after Avatar, everything started coming out in 3D, and so much of it was so bad. This one stood out as, like, really cool 3D animation. And yeah, the story really holds up. I mean, it's funny. Jay Baruchel is perfect in the lead to this. It's a great start to a great trilogy.
It's really funny that Jonah Hill and Jay Baruchel are both in this, given how they very clearly do not like each other in real life. That's good stuff. My number 2 is Kung Fu Panda 2. I took my ex-girlfriend to see this, who I knew was afraid of birds, and the villain is Gary Oldman, a peacock, and he's very scary. She was mad. I used to think this movie was a lot less good than Kung Fu Panda, and now I don't think that. Now I'm like, this movie is almost as good as the original, and I think it's the second best DreamWorks movie. It really takes the things that are good about the first one and capitalizes on them. It's one of my favorite part 2s ever, I think. Again, maybe for me, the best action trilogy possible.
And my number 2 is the first Kung Fu Panda, which, again, I agree with all of these things. It's just a delight. What a great movie.
Yeah, and my number 1 is the first Kung Fu Panda. Wow, what a great movie that spawned 3 great movies. It's sad that I don't have much more to say, except Shout out to Jackie Chan, Lucy Liu, Seth Rogen, David Cross, Dustin Hoffman. Come on. And yeah, Shifu, so good. Really important and doesn't get a lot of, both of these guys don't get a lot of love, but Randall Duck Kim as the turtle, as Uguay, and the perfect, no matter what he's in, James Hong as Mr. Ping, and he's in the whole trilogy. We don't need Aquafina in these movies. What's your number one, baby?
Well, that is my number one as the Wild Robot. Yeah, this is the only DreamWorks movie that I have rated at 5 stars. Thought it was perfect. You know, Lupita Nyong'o is just wonderful doing this. Like I said, I cried a whole bunch during this movie. And then Laszlo from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, Matt Berry.
Matt Berry. That's right. I don't know why I couldn't remember Berry, but yeah, Matt Berry has a amazing little role in it. And he's got and now I can't remember what it is. I just remember like near the end of the movie, he's got a line that was so funny that I laughed like so hard out loud, and I think I was like the only one in the theater who was laughing at it because like I'm just picturing Laszlo, you know, and I can't remember what the line is because I haven't rewatched it.
You have to say I'm cool.
Yeah, it was something. I think it was in that sequence or whatever, wherever it was. Yeah, but it was so perfect, and I think it was because of What We Do in the Shadows that I laughed. But yeah, I think it's a perfect movie.
Right. I mean, I named my cat after a Matt Berry character. So, yeah. Okay. So that'll do it for DreamWorks Ranked. We never updated our Disney one post Wish and Moana 2. We will not be updating this one post.
Yeah.
So enjoy this as it is, and we'll be back next week with more of our regularly scheduled program.